Welcome back. It is another episode again here on the Kingdom Ambassadors Global
Right.
channel. And of course, I have here with me Shamar. In fact, I never gave them your last name.
Oh, my last name is Shaman Mulgrave.
Mulgrave.
Right.
All right. A very unique name, a matter of fact.
It is.
Right. All right. So Shamar, we're just gonna continue on where we left off,
Right.
as it relates to relationships
Right.
and as it relates to the book, right? I'm sure a bit of nuggets, practical nuggets, had pointed out to you in
Right.
how to deal with people, and hopefully we can be able to narrow down on that and for what you have gathered. And of
Right,
course,
right.
again, the book that we are looking at is How to Influence Friends, How to Win Friends,
influence people.
and Influence People,
Right,
right?
right.
And of course, not for manipulation,
No.
right?
Genuine. Right.
Influence.
Right,
And
right.
so we're going to go ahead and just talk a little bit about how we can be able to do that. What's the first step that we can take to do that? And between me and you, you mainly speak so much about honor, right? I'm sure honor means a lot to you, and of course,
Yeah.
everybody wants to be honored. Everybody wants to have a sense of gratitude, a sense
Right.
of belonging, feeling, smushy and
Mm.
nice. You know what I mean, right?
Right.
And of course, we can identify it's a gateway to actually get what you desire,
Right.
and in terms, that person who you're honoring get what they desire as well, right? So to start this off, the word honor comes from the Greek word. Well, it means to be of worth or value, right? But in a very literal sense, honor was a culturally constructed evaluation of a person's actions, which determine a person's worth, as in their price or value to the community, right? So we're gonna look at it from that perspective, and of course, first things first, bro. What does honor means to you to start off with?
Honor for me is really an individual coming to recognize the true value and worth of an individual, not necessarily based on what the person have, but who the person is or are. So it goes far beyond the accolades of men and the things that you have accomplished. Because if that was the case for us, we wouldn't know Christ.
All right, so hold on, stick up in, because that takes a spin on things.
Right.
Even though it kind of contradicts even for what I just read. You know what I mean? Because we're looking at it from the Greek understanding, but now you're approaching it from the kingdom perspective, and I like that. I like that. So it takes away the value on the materialistic things and the so much the community, but on the individual itself. Why is that so?
Because first of all, we must understand that we are created in the image of God, point blank. So there's nothing that can validate that honor that we already have. It's intrinsic. So when we begin to look at it or fund our relationships based off this principle, we cannot lose. And a lot of the times when we fail to honor persons, is because we don't have honor for ourselves. Again, as what the quote says, you are anything that you have said. Whatever you say you are, whatever you think you are, right? So if I honor you, that means I am a honorable person. So it all begins with coming to understand where is it or where are you from? Who have created you? So it points back to origin, if you get what I'm saying.
Yeah. That's very interesting. A lot of people may not be able to look at life that way. How is it that I can still be able to honor somebody? Look at a thief for who a person may perceive him or her to be, and still say, I honor you. You are
it's a stigma around it. And people we measure persons based on. So for example, it's a lot of the times when persons ask, what is it that you do for a living? They use the answer that you give to measure the amount of respect you give the person that asks. So I look at it as a means of being disrespectful or condescending in some manner, because you have to be careful how you treat people, because you never might know who that person might become in the future. And so there's a saying that says, be careful how you treat the janitor might be the CEO.
I see.
So every time, one of the things that I practice is first to honor myself and find out what honor is. And that is looking at an individual and having that selfless, altruistic personality to say, if I wanted this for myself, why not do it for the person? So it stems from that understanding first of yourself and where you're from and who created you. Then you can extend that gift or that love to the person also.
So in essence, to really truly honor somebody, it actually starts from identity in a sense, right? Interesting, because it also puts it we can even shift the narrative a little bit in the sense of us placing limitations on people for just highlighting for what they do alone, but not recognizing the intrinsic value for who they are.
And this is the root cause of majority of the failed relationships or divorces.
You believe so?
I believe so.
Why?
If I would desire to be in a relationship with a woman, and I say, okay, we are now getting married soon. This particular female, my understanding of who she is would then help me to respect her more. So the core value, the boundaries that she has set for herself, I would then look at that as the means of honoring her before moving forward with the relationship. Because if not, I would continuously, subconsciously step over that line that she has drawn. Not in a disrespectful manner, but to value herself. Because we must be able to coexist with one another. And in order for that to happen, that oneness may be established, I must understand your boundary and she must understand mine. So if I should step into a relationship without that honor, her and the boundary, it will become a lot of contentions. It will result a lot of contentions. And a lot of fights back and forward, and then inevitably. And a lot of persons nowadays, we are not equipped with the understanding of who people are. Or how is it that we can relate to the individual. And that is why I had some of these interesting pointers from the book that I would love to share, if you don't mind. And I believe this will help us to better understand what honor really is. So in your knowledge, why is it, or what would you say is the root cause of certain arguments in relationships?
Well,
where honoring is concerned.
Depends. I think for myself, I could say persons are not does not show enough gratitude. In the sense that, okay, I am not well appreciated for the things that I am doing within the relationship, for the things that I'm improving upon. For example, a woman, a woman normally clean and everything. So when it comes down to married relationships and stuff, it's a natural thing for a woman to nurture, right? The man, most times on average, not so much. And sometimes the man may not clean as well as the lady. Right? But at the same time, for us as men, I can speak on that. We're deprived of appreciation. All right. In the sense of, okay, not being applauded for the little that we're trying to do. And that kind of sets us back a bit and allows us to be unappreciated, and we feel bitter and we feel, okay, we're not wanted and stuff like that. And that simple nugget, that simple seed, can turn into various things, right? And cause unnecessary argument, and so therefore it leads to the point of not being loved, right? So in my perspective, it's as simply as, affirming the person, saying that, okay, you are good, you are great at this, well done, such a, so I think for most relationships, most people are not cognitive of that, and they do not affirm their partner, they do not show appreciation to their partner, and it causes them to have a lot of bitterness in the marriage.
Also, that's true, and I hear what you say in terms of identifying the value of the person by the little things that they do, and we need to understand that these things actually mean a lot, because if I should buy a gift for an individual, it's coming from the heart. And a lot of the times people we disregard it, right? Sometimes we do some things it's offensive to the person, but because we're not seeing it in the person's position, we belittle it. Now there is a particular article that is known as the runaway wives.
What?
The runaway wives. So in this article, it speaks about why women are running out of relationships, and there's also another one which contradicts that. It says the runaway husbands, and the main reason is because the efforts are going unnoticed. The efforts of the wives of the husbands are going unnoticed. We are not realizing the small sacrifices that these persons have been doing. So it poses a charge to rebel, feeling less than. So especially when the person is insisting that it is not that important, it crushes a person's pride. It crushes a person's sense of identity.
But here's the next thing too. Right. Here's the next thing too as well, because at the same time, though persons, though it may not be as intentional, but one of the main things is that where communication of the boundaries, as what you have mentioned, is concerned, because persons, they themselves don't know exactly what they would require from the other person, especially within a relationship setting.
And sometimes familiarity can be birthed through that also, right? And it can also cause a discharge in the relationship. So that's true.
So my practical step would be, for those who are listening, is that for as well for what you have done with me, is establish what are the boundaries that you have. What would you allow? What would you not allow? And so that the other partner, whether through intimacy or a regular relationship, friendship, and so forth, platonic, they will know how to gauge you and how to approach you, and know what to say and what not to say, what to do, what not to do, right? Because even with the Trinity, with the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, they have various roles in which they play. They don't overstep boundaries, right? And so the symbiotic relationship that they have, it mesh. And they can be able to just do things in order. So since the three heads, they know their boundaries, they know what to do, they have a healthy relationship. And you see where God, Jesus, a matter of fact, has honored God in so many ways, right? I don't do anything without the Father telling me what to do, right? I do the work of the one who sent me. Exactly. So for me, if I may put it this way, the basis of honor is understanding the boundaries of the other party. The other party, because you will know how to approach that person and what not to say.
Definitely. And depending on the persons, there are different principles that is required to approach different persons when it comes down to level of respect is concerned. So if you look at the family, I cannot approach my mom the way I
careful in boy.
The way I approach my younger sister, I cannot. Point blank. Even if I'm being sarcastic, I cannot. So it's just understanding that, look, she is the parent, and it does not matter what scenario, what is it that I want to say to her or speak to her about, it does not matter. Mom, good afternoon. Mom, evening. Not to say that I'm not going to be with my younger sister, but we can just say, hey, sis, what going on, and we start the conversation there. We run like a joke, but when it comes down to our parents, there must be a level of respect.
Honor your mother and father so that your days can... People, there's a reason, there's a reason why these things are said within the Bible. Definitely. And you see how well, though this book may not be scriptural, but we recognize that books like these have taken principles from the Bible.
In fact, there is actually written verses. This individual, Dale Carnegie, he spoke about fasting for 6 days. He quoted scriptures from out of the Bible. He said, "Judge not, lest ye be judged." And this was one of the favorite lines from Abraham Lincoln. And there was a scenario in the book that says he appointed men for a particular charge in terms of military forces, and they failed. But now his wife came along, and his wife was speaking to him, and she was complaining.
Yeah.
And he turned to her and said, "Don't judge them. Don't criticize them. We would be if we was in their position, we would have done the same thing." And I said, "Whoa, judge not, lest ye be judged." So it's an understanding that if you see someone fall, don't ridicule them. You must actually be the first person to run, because do unto others as you would like them do unto yourself. So when you come to understand who you are, it will then prompt you to push forward that love or extend that love to the person.
Interesting.
Definitely.
I know that we might go off topic as it relates to this, as relates to the whole judge not and he will not be judged. And for what you said, put things into perspective as it relates to circumstances.
Right.
Circumstances play a huge role in how a person reacts to life. And it makes you even think now to say, okay, if I was in the same circumstance of the other person who I am judging, would I have done the same thing?
And that's coming from a place of love.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of Christians, believers actually view people from that light.
Right. Why though?
That's a very good question. I don't know. Like, I really don't know. And sometimes subtly it comes over me too, it's like, hey, why is that person doing that? Like, them not have enough sense to say, hey, just part a better,
the funniest thing when you really examine it, it's not really you though. It's the culture in which we were raised in, and we can't do nothing about it unless we recognize it for what it is now.
Emancipate yourself from mental sleep.
It really stems from you realizing that, hey, if this happened to me, me would have feel like this thing. So a parent now going out and embarrassing a child, right? Yeah, that's disrespectful to the child, but the child doesn't have any liberty to say that. Or if the child disrespect the parent in public, right? So that humiliation does a lot. And again, it goes back to you understanding who you are, the boundary of the individual, and this is where you can establish honor in that scenario.
Well said. All right, so we're gonna wrap it up here. I think there's a lot of nuggets that you could have gotten from this small conversation. And just before we end, any last words to anybody? Any encouragement?
Definitely. One of the things that I would say is, don't try to live life alone. Don't try to pursue your dreams, your goals alone. And I believe this is the main reason for this podcast, if I may say. Try to surround yourself with individuals that is of like passion in order to help you to get where you are. Because in reality, there is a misunderstanding of you being confident. It is replaced with pride. And I've seen myself a lot of the times, the help is there, is provided. But because of me thinking that I am sufficient, I can do this, I can do that, because of the gifts or the talents that I am seeing results of that God has given me. But at the end of the day, in order to be graduated from a particular situation, you need the teacher. There's always a recommendation for me to try to find that place of humility within self, and then propose that gift or understanding to the society and to the world.
All right, well said. The meek shall inherit the hurt. Amen. Amen. All right, so thank you guys so much for listening to another episode. We pray that you have learned a lot from us and just helping you to have a different narrative, a different perspective on life. Right? So blessings. Do hope to see you guys again. And of course, shalom, shalom.
Shalom, shalom.
Peace be unto you. Take care.